Good evening. Welcome to I and Issues. With me this evening I have a very distinguished personality who has served externally for a number of years, Persaud. He is no other than Dr. Persaud. He's had quite a career. He's not only a medical doctor, he also did some postgraduate work and in the field of in the area of food sciences and public health. But that included in some way the impact. When he returned the second time, he joined the government, or was that from the very beginning?
No, I joined after graduating.
Graduating.
I worked for a while at the Georgetown Hospital, then I joined the government.
Joined the government, and you was Minister of Health, but you also held some other portfolio, which included medical education, food and food policy.
And environment.
Environment. And also included in that was housing.
That's housing.
That was a very big ministry.
Yes. At that time I had health, water, environment and housing together.
Mm-hmm. So whilst you were away there, of course, you've been away now, 13 years?
No, 19 years.
19 years. 19 years, there has been a lot of changes. Since returning, have you seen any of those changes that could be considered positive?
Well, I've while I was away, I've been here on an annual basis on more than one occasion, so I've been tracking the changes in society, and sometimes when visitors come, they say, okay, there are new buildings going up, etc. But I think that as I looked at Guyana, while I was not directly involved in the developmental process, where we are at present is Guyana is, to my mind, a crisis state. Significant crises in terms of governance, in terms of the racial crisis. We've got significant poverty. And we have a political crisis. And more so, I think, we as a people have a crisis of confidence in ourselves, that when you compare where we were in the 70s and 80s, as we traveled overseas, we were a respected people. Today, I do not think we can speak to that issue that we are a respected people, and we seem not to have the confidence in ourselves that is required to push our developmental process.
Now, the first question is going to be, I hope it's not a too difficult one for you, and certainly it wouldn't be. That is, the PNC as an opposition party has been very, very weak. It's not the same as it used to be. And in any society you need a vibrant, up and going opposition. Now, I've been reading here and there that your intention is, all goes well, to lead the party and to make some changes that would be positive. And one of the changes is that the election of the leader, once you elect the leader, the leader does everything and anything, and no one can challenge him. If you're challenging him, you'll be in trouble, as was the case of Mr. Alexander and others last year, the year before. This should not be. Are you going to, assuming you're able to take over the PNC as the party, are you going to change the Constitution?
Yes, you change the Constitution in practice. You know, I am coming from the international environment over 19 years, and one of the attributes is working with different people and different cultures. I've had to work with a number of governments within the Eastern Caribbean, for example, when I was based in Barbados. And then when I moved to Jamaica, I had to work with the Jamaican government, the Bermudan government, the government of Cayman Islands. And then when I moved to Bahamas, with the Bahamian government and Turks and Caicos. And in Washington, it was a broader spectrum. The program afforded me the opportunity to interface with governments of Latin America and the Caribbean. This speaks to, as a leader, you've got to listen, be prepared to listen. You've got to have a different approach in terms of ensuring that whatever decisions are made, those participation in that process are stakeholders of that decision. So that has been the way I've operated even before I left too. But I think I became sharper working in the international community.
Now did you become a, let's say, more experienced person?
Correct.
In respect of what's going on elsewhere.
Right.
Where we should be today compared with other countries. You know, the Guyanese indeed, this whole Barbadian scenario is so laughable in the sense that we at one time, we were, as you said earlier, we were proud people. We were looked up at wherever you went. Today we are really looked down on. Barbados is the classic case. I recall in the late 40s and 50s we had so many Bajans coming here seeking refuge to work. We had a lot of St. Lucians who came and they went straight into the interior. And they came and we had open arms to them. And some of those people still are here today, their descendants. Some have gone back to Barbados, to St. Lucia. But, you know, we were a proud people. We produced some of the best sons and daughters, most of whom who are overseas today. And we're still okay, despite all the shortcomings. We still have people here that could get things done. What we've lost more than anything is skills at all levels, and people continue to leave. What would you do, assuming, of course, you become leader of the PNC, and later on a leader of the opposition? You have elections coming up in 2011. What would you do differently than is being done at the present time in order to ensure growth and development takes place? That's one part of it. But there's another thing that I've been asked several times, and I've noticed you've been asked this by the press. What about the dark years of the PNC? There were some dark years, let's not say no, which need not have happened, but it happened. People are now saying there should be an apology, and that apology is necessary, maybe not only for the PNC, for others too. But let's start with the PNC, because the PNC is the one that is now considered the bad boy of yesterday.